50 wins as a coach in the NCAA tournament, and they are working on 26 straight wins in the Eastern Regional, which is unbelievable.
It's amazing. The last 6 times they've been sent to the East, they've advanced to the Final Four, going for 7 this weekend here in Syracuse. Duke and White has first possession.
Now you have Dupay down on James. Big advantage for James size-wise, and he has been an excellent rebounder in the NCAA tournament so far.
Carrawell dribbles over, frees himself, and gets the bounce.
Duke showing just enough pressure. And we saw Williams last week against Heinrich of Kansas have all kinds of problems defensively.
Offensively too, Billy, last week he struggled. Miller swatted away by Battier, fresh off a career-high 8 blocks in the win against Kansas.
Came all the way from the weak side to do that.
Williams back to the rim. Battier keeps it alive. As Coach K said last week, he's everywhere, Battier.
Well, this Duke team has never played in a dome. And shooting perspective will be interesting early on because they do count on perimeter shooting a great deal. So far, nothing hitting from the outside.
Williams with a miss. James with a misfire also on this possession.
Lazy pass by Williams.
Battier had it stripped away by Wright.
Excellent steal on the way up.
Dupay wants to challenge. Goes inside. Haslam with Florida's first points.
Beautiful bounce pass by Dupay on the inside, and here comes the pressure. There'll be a double team on the side. Look at Battier, he's going to help bring it up, being a tall man that can throw over the top of the press. Nice move by Duke University here, instead of trying to beat it with the dribble.
Williams turns it over. He did that, in fact, 8 times against the Jayhawks. To the corner, Hamilton snags it. Haslam cutting to the basket, kicks it out. Wright steps in, nope. Look at this passing by Florida. Dupay with the left hand, and James is fouled by Haslam.
James has been, as I said, an excellent rebounder in this game. Now you can see what Duke is doing against the press. Williams got careless. Against this Florida team, you cannot get careless with the dribble. I like Duke's setup here. Battier throwing over the top of the pressure. Right back to Battier. Keep the ball off the floor.
And a reach-in call on Hamilton. Justin Hamilton, a freshman for Florida. Freshman on freshman.
Jim, point out one other thing. Florida can press like this because they're an extremely deep team. They don't worry about foul trouble, particularly a guy like Hamilton. Comes into the game to distribute the ball and put as much pressure on the primary dribbler as possible.
Gators will go with about 10 players. In fact, 10 players average over 10 minutes a game. So interchangeable parts, and a steal forced by Haslam.
Another turnover by Duke. They had 23 turnovers in the Kansas game, a season high for them. And they're not being very good with the ball so far in this game.
Turned it over the last 3 trips. This time, a wild shot by Williams. And out of there comes Mike Miller, all SEC performer. Game winner against Butler in the first round at the buzzer. Dupay coming off the screen set by Wright.
Jim, one of the things we also have to take in consideration, with Florida being a much deeper team, they don't have to worry about foul trouble. But Duke, so far in the tournament, have made 47 of 58 free throws. The opponents only 12 of 21. They are 2 officials out here that I have not seen in an NCAA tournament. It'll be interesting to see how this game is called. Dupay hits from the outside. He's not afraid of that dome. Remember where Florida played their SEC tournament.
The Georgia Dome. That was a triple by Dupay. Inside, Carrawell, and they count the basket.
Dupay not able to get there in time. He gives up a lot of size, and when he gets caught inside, Duke has got a big advantage. Good passing inside, over the top. Boozer hits, and you can see without question Dupay never got there with his feet planted in a defensive position. Carrawell, very good finisher in tight. And in the Kansas game, as Carrawell does so often, he hit the big free throws down the wire. Duke showing a little press of their own.
Carrawell has all 5 Duke points.
Dupay open on the side.
Williams read it and comes up with the theft.
Miller really telegraphed that pass, Jim. You could really see it coming. Good job by Jason Williams.
Carrawell Over right, ball free, and Boozer has it taken away by Miller.
He tried to make the shot before he caught the ball.
Over the top, Haslam can't reach for it. Billy, I said it should be a high-speed game because we have two of the four highest-scoring teams in Division I basketball this season.
Well, Duke led the nation in scoring last year. They did it again this year. Now, it's kind of surprising. Duke does like to push the ball, but against the Florida team, expect Mike Krzyzewski to kind of have that running game under control. Illinois had a hard time pulling back in the course of the game that they lost to this Florida club.
You saw Donnell Harvey come in. Donnell Harvey, number 4. Williams with a 3. He's been long on his 2 jumpers.
Harvey, a tremendous rebounder. He'll be quite a challenge inside for Duke. Battier on him, and there he goes.
Boy, he was able to bounce free for position and scores on his first trip.
Extremely quick player on the inside. He was too strong for Battier on that occasion.
James drives and banks it home.
Nate James having a tremendous NCAA tournament.
Hamilton almost loses it. Back with it.
There's the switching by Duke. Miller would like to have his dribble alive to try to take Battier off the dribble.
Try it again. This time he traveled. Back at Syracuse, Bonnie Bernstein will be reporting from the sidelines, if you will, tonight. Bonnie?
Hi, Jim. You know, everybody's been talking about Florida's daunting press, but before the game, Mike Krzyzewski pointed out a little loophole. He said Florida tends to trap a lot. Inevitably, that's going to leave one of my guys open. If my players can find the open man quickly, think smart on the run, we'll be able to break the press. As far as Billy Donovan's Gators, he said, I want my team to approach this game the same way Duke is. I want my guys to think we're going to the Final Four, and Duke's standing in our way. Jim?
Inside, they break the pressure, and it ends up being a dunk for Boozer.
There's a case where Bonner got caught with Williams. Bonner does not have the leg speed to create the double-team trap. Williams just beat it down the floor.
Hamilton wildly, and Battier sweeps it away. Matt Bonner, you spoke of, checking in out of that timeout. Number 15, a freshman for Florida. Battier over him with a 3 try.
So far, Jim, Duke has been long on every jump shot from 3. There's one, finally hits.
That's not bothering Carrawell. He has 8 points early for Duke. For those of you expecting Tulsa and Miami, we'll be getting you to the start of that game shortly.
Miller getting the screen here from Bonner. He's got a smaller man on him. Good switch by Battier.
Inside Bonner, right over the top of Boozer.
Breakdown by Boozer defensively. And here you see again, Battier able to throw over the top of the press with his great size. You can't overplay enough what it's like for a team to play in a dome for the first time until they get their bearings with their outside shot. Depth perception is often a problem.
Carrawell.
He loves the post-up move.
Boozer hacked on the way up.
Probably a pretty good foul by DePay.
Of course, when you talk about this Duke team, no experience playing in a dome, Carrawell, Battier, both with a lot of experience, NCAA tournament experience, playing in domes.
Not necessarily good. St. Petersburg, do you remember that? Kentucky, their last game of their freshman year. And then, of course, against Connecticut last year. Now, Jim, these two teams did face each other last year. Speaking of that, Duke winning a game 116-86, and in that game, William Avery 8 for 10 out of 3 from the three-point line, and they just buried a very, very young team, Florida, on that occasion.
These two tangled back in the 1994 national semifinals in Charlotte, and Duke was down 7 in that game before coming back to win 70-65 behind Grant Hill's 25. Went on to lose to Arkansas in the final. Christensen has come into the tournament for the first time. Matt Christensen, number 41 for Duke. Entry pass, last touch by Florida.
And Harvey got Don Levy right in the eye. He's got to feel that he's snake bit a little bit. He just gets into the ball game and takes a hand to the eye.
Yep, there he is, Mike Dunleavy.
Pretty good ball handler.
Oh, Battier called with the illegal screen.
Battier, a smart play on his part, figuring that Dunleavy may have problems with the dribble, tried to set the screen to open him up, but doesn't get there in time. Here you see him setting the screen, never plants his feet, And you can see Weeks in the game now, Bonner in the game, Nelson in the game, Parker in the game. Only one original starter on the floor right now for Florida. But Billy Donovan has a lot of confidence in this rotation system.
Florida with already 10 players in the game. Seeing action. Nelson with a three, and the freshman who was on fire last week hits his first shot.
Jim, in only 19 minutes, he had 16 points, 4 assists, 4 of 6 threes against Illinois. A terrific performance by the young man from West Virginia.
Interesting seeing Matt Christensen in the game. It's his first NCAA tournament action since 1996. Williams penetrates.
Bonner, good recovery. He was beaten off the dribble.
Nelson goes behind the back to get free. He'll try another one and delivers again, a triple.
You've got to pick him up. Man had 9 40-point games in high school, not afraid to put it up at all. And there's a bad place to be with that dribble.
Nelson reaches in, ties it up, Gator ball.
Well, you can see Dunleavy is going to have to put the ball off the floor, throw over the top of the press. He's taking himself right into the trap areas.
Arrow belongs to Florida.
Here we can see the trap area right here. The Florida would love to have you play there all day long. He picks up his dribble, no place to go. Now Carrawell, as usual, assigned to the toughest guy, trying to slow Nelson down a little bit.
Nate James has come back in for Duke.
Weeks a very good scorer.
To the corner, another three, and 3 in a row. That was Major Parker.
How about this bench, Jim? Great confidence. And there again, a bad trapping area for Duke.
2 seconds to get it across. Not in time. 10-second violation.
What Duke is doing is what you cannot do against this trapping defense, and that is try to beat it with the dribble. They need to go over the top of the press with the pass. Wasting a lot of time. That ball was tipped. James comes and doesn't get across. Great rally by the bench of Florida. How about 3?
How about another one? That's a 2. I count that as a 2 for
3
Nelson.
shots, 3 makes.
Jim Nance and Billy Packer along with Bonnie Bernstein at the East Regional in Syracuse. In the data bank, Florida a number 5 seed in the East. Well, no 5 has ever reached the championship game. But Florida with its bench, 15 points already produced by that bench, 6 out of 6 from the field by the subs.
Now let's see if Duke decides to attack a different way. If you put the ball on the floor, you've got to keep the dribble alive, as Williams does here.
He got it across with 2 seconds to spare. Nate James from the corner. Battier, he got position inside away from Parker.
Duke still, though, not delivering from the outside, Jim, against this press. That shot is going to be available. Good dish, good play by Boozer.
Boozer reached around and batted away the pass. Dunleavy. He'll shoot 2.
Dunleavy in that situation, Jim, where he is so big normally for the guy guarding him, loves to take it to the hole. It looks slow, but he is so effective with that dribble.
Matt Bonner committing the foul, and for the fastest coverage online and a complete look at the starting lineups of the remaining tournament teams, click on March Mayhem at cbs.sportsline.com or America Online, the keyword CBS Sportsline.
Dunleavy, Jim, obviously missed the 4 games with mononucleosis, came back in the ACC tournament, played 20 minutes his first game back against Clemson, 4 for 4 threes, 16 points, 4 rebounds. Followed that up with a 15 and 4-point game, but did not play well in Winston-Salem. When you look at Duke, they have a lot of guys that play 40 minutes and in some cases 45-minute games. They've got actually 4 guys that play over 28 minutes a game. So 2 entirely different makeups of the ball clubs. Millard like to turn that corner and drive to the basket. There he goes.
Puts it up high off the back of the rim, and Williams sneaks down to secure the rebound.
But a good rebounder is Williams.
James again, corner shot. He loves working on the corners.
Nate James continues his outstanding play. Had 12 points against Kansas, 18 points against Lamar. Sneaky player, isn't he?
Miller on the dunk, matching now the Nate James jumper at the other end.
Dunleavy turned his back. Good pass.
Dunleavy couldn't finish it. Got the pass from Boozer. Nelson again, a pull-up three.
And you can see how important it is for Florida to make those shots so they can get their press established. Good job by Wright stopping Williams' drive.
Williams again off, and the rebound by Wright. Williams is 0 for 5 from the field. Nelson at the other end. Haslam will go to the line for a three-point play.
And there's where the freshness of Haslam and Wright beat Duke's legs to the basket. Ball goes up. Just quicker feet from rested players doing a good job off the glass.
It's called on Boozer.
So far, Jim, that huge difference that Duke normally has against their opponents from the free throw line not being part of this game. Florida does a pretty good job themselves in terms of going to the line. And both teams shoot extremely well. Both shoot over 70% as a team. Very well, right. Battier should be able to go by.
He did. Drove right past Haslam and got hammered at the other end by Weeks.
That's a bad matchup. Haslam can't play outside against Battier, who's a total basketball player.
With the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed over $8 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. 2 for Battier. You know, after that game against Kansas last week, he had 8 blocks, 21 points. Roy Williams said about Battier, maybe the most alert, most aware defensive player that I can ever remember in college basketball.
Well, that's pretty strong. You know, he was an assistant coach at North Carolina, had guys like Sam Perkins, Michael Jordan, some pretty good defenders. Oh, nice push.
Oh, well, that was right over the top of Battier. They fed the pass to the inside to Haslam.
Haslam posting up in that paint. Another bad place to pick up your dribble.
Battier snaps it over quickly. Williams at last. It's a 3 after missing his first 5.
Weeks off and running. Here comes Nelson again. You've got to stop his dribble.
Haslam, Dunleavy reached in to knock it out.
You'll see down in the low post. Watch how Haslam takes control of that paint. He's got Battier right on his back. Does an excellent job not breaking to the ball until the ball is released. See, if he goes early as the ball is coming to him, the space is not there for him to make that catch. Very good technique. Weeks goes down the lane.
And knocked out by Carrawell.
Duke University turning some heads here on this out-of-bounds play and almost got burned on that one.
Miller, front of the rim, right, go inside, had the easy position, boxed out Carrawell.
Pretty good size in there with Wright and Harvey. Excellent rebounders. Battier on the bench, so Duke a lot smaller.
James, that's a 2. And
Foul.
off. Well, it was
That's a foul on
Dunleavy.
Dunleavy fouling over Nelson.
Dunleavy struggled last week in Winston-Salem, and I was talking to him last Saturday between the games, and he said, you know, it's a different feeling being in the NCAA tournament. He said he was nervous, and you know, who wouldn't be? But he said it was a totally different kind of anxiety than what he had experienced in all those big games playing in the ACC.
Jim, in fairness to the young man, mononucleosis, out for 4 games, came back off the cookie. There's a palming violation in the open court. You don't see that called very often, but I don't think he's got his full strength or quickness back at all. And maybe he's having some after effects of sitting down during that period of time. Obviously, it didn't work out.
So the palming call, one that you think should be stepped up a little more often.
Well,
and it's scrutinized.
Well, definitely if you're gaining an advantage with the palm. I didn't think there was any advantage gained on that play. So you very seldom see it called.
Carrawell looking for room, a reach-in steal by the Gators. Miller breaks, up over the top, Miller, no.
That is a legal block.
Yeah, because the ball was on the way up. Dunleavy blocked it after it hit the backboard off Carrawell. Florida ball.
Now there was a case where Williams could not get the proper angle for that bounce pass. You'd like to be at a 45. He was almost perpendicular. Impossible ball to catch.
Why don't you explain that off the glass block move by Dunleavy, why it's legal in college basketball?
Right, as long as the ball's on the way up, you can pin it on the glass. Harvey wants it over the top. There he gets Boozer again.
Oh, they're going to say a push-off. A push-off on Boozer.
I don't know if it's Boozer or going the other way.
It's going the other way. Okay, it's going on.
Well, let's see.
Harvey.
Yep.
Is it? Yes, it is on Boozer. Bench points in this game, 15 for Florida. 2 Mike Dunleavy free throws for Duke. Florida, in its 2 wins, Billy, in Winston-Salem, wins over Butler in Illinois, averaged 35 points in the 2 games off the bench.
Off the bench, yeah. That's Boozer's second foul on the inside. Let's see if Florida goes inside again. He's going to be matched up with Harvey. Harvey very strong in the paint. There he is. Hamilton should have stayed on that side of the floor.
Outside jumper doesn't drop for Wright, and Carrawell surveys. He'll bring it up.
Critical 7 minutes for Duke here to keep Boozer from getting that 3rd foul.
Wright
Another
takes
steal
it
by
away.
Wright.
He just reached right in.
Turned the ball over, got away with it. The official didn't see it.
Hamilton off the glass, went up high with it. Up and over Boozer.
Isn't it amazing how this bench produces? Guys come in and they do the job defensively. They're not in awe of getting into the basketball game because it's standard procedure for Florida. They have a lot of confidence what they can do.
Carrawell, pull up. Yep. He's having a big night.
Carrawell loves that shot from 12 feet. Here's Florida right back on the attack. I think Florida ought to at least take 1 shot to get that ball down inside with Harvey on and Boozer on him.
9 different players have scored for the Gators in this game.
3 seconds. Pretty interesting to watch how these referees are patrolling the lane. Florida really setting up in the paint. Here we see Hamilton coming in. He's got good size, excellent delivery on the layup. He had 10 against Mississippi in the SEC tournament. They can explode from almost any player.
Carrawell goes middle. James between 2 defenders, banks it home. He's got 6.
Nate James continues to impress. Kind of guy in his scouting report, you look at him as maybe the 5th guy on this team, but he is coming up big. This is a good move right here by Florida.
Yep, Harvey lost his footing.
Yep.
And that deflected by Hamilton.
But a good play by Williams because Harvey was on the floor on the other end. Boozer hustled down court, and if Hamilton doesn't get a piece of that, it's an easy 2.
Bonner returns, freshman from New Hampshire. They brought a busload of people over from Concord, New Hampshire to support him here tonight. On the road to the Final Four. Williams.
No call on that. Williams gets an offensive tap.
Thought he might have been fouled on the first shot.
I thought he was.
Dupay looks around, feels the presence of a Duke defender. Miller.
Look at James.
James goes in and it actually snatches it away from Boozer.
Mike Krzyzewski, you can see, wanting to play this game a little bit more half court at a time. So unless they have the break there, an attacking break, he'd like to use some clock.
Florida star player Miller is only 1 of 7 in this game, but the Gators lead by 3.
And he got a piece of Battier on the elbow.
Well, the regional finals are set for tomorrow. Auburn Hills, Michigan State, Iowa State, 1 against 2. In the West, Big Ten. We'll have a Big Ten team at the Final Four. We know that. Wisconsin and Purdue. They met in the quarterfinals
3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago. The Big Ten tournament in Chicago.
Wisconsin 2-1 advantage against Purdue so far this year.
Dunleavy in for James. What do you think of that matchup tomorrow, Wisconsin-Purdue? How do you see it?
Well, I would say this, as opposed to, let's say, an LSU that had never played against a Wisconsin-type team and probably had a hard time realizing what they were in for. Purdue certainly would be used to the way Dick Bennett would like to have a game played.
Purdue will attempt to become the first home state Final Four team since Duke in '94, when the Final Four was in Charlotte. In fact, Duke was the only home state Final Four team in the entire decade of the '90s.
Boy, Florida really putting guys down in the lane.
Bonner with a three. Freshman can hit that shot, but way off the mark that time. Duke can take the lead here. Inside, Boozer.
Oh, good defense by Bonner.
And Harvey, nope. Boozer picks up the loose ball. And he'll go to the line. Good free throw shooter, the freshman, 75%.
But you got to finish in there, Jim. That's not good enough to go on the line when you're down and low with your power player. He needs to be shooting now just one shot after he'd made the two. Haslam coming back in the game. Boozer will be coming out right after this. Mike Krzyzewski going to try to make sure he doesn't pick up the third foul with 5 minutes remaining in this half.
And same goes for Harvey. He'll be coming out after collecting his second. Haslam comes back. Major Parker for Florida. Miller goes to the bench along with Harvey.
We talk about Boozer with his inside power game. We talk about him being a good free throw shooter. But how about when he stepped out and made that interception on the pass? That probably was the play of the day that sent Kansas back home.
Picked off the pass in the last 30 seconds. The last minute. And Matt Christensen does indeed come in for him.
I think that Florida missed an excellent opportunity. With 7 minutes to go, they had Boozer with 2 fouls. They had their men Harvey and Haslam down in the low post, and they never were able to deliver the pass to put him in the precarious situation to pick up his 3rd foul.
Dupay mismatch. Batier's on him.
Off the dribble, Dupay is going to pass.
Bonner lays it up softly.
Bonner's got a lot of size. A lot like Dunleavy in the fact that he can go inside or out. Nice fake.
Dunleavy inside, and it bounces off the back of the rim. He's missed two
layups.
Range.
Yep. Trying to duck underneath instead of taking it strong to the basket.
Haslam fake, spins. He'll go back out with it. They've got Dupay.
He loves that shot.
Bonner.
Good call by the officials, working together very nicely there. Bonner came off over the back and got away with it. Here we have Battier again, the man that's taken the ball out of bounds. He kind of sets up everything for this team. You know, Jim, whether it's offensively or defensively. Williams being careless with the ball.
Off the leg of Bonner.
Cannot afford to play that point guard position and be careless as Williams has been both in the Kansas game and illegal screen.
How about that pick? Jolted Williams, but they'll flag Bonner now with his second. You talk about Battier kind of setting up everything. Does it remind you at all of, say, Grant Hill's last year where times he would handle the ball or bring it up?
Jim, I think back at the game against LSU. Shaquille O'Neal, Christian Laettner, the rematch where Duke had beaten LSU so badly. Bobby Hurley was injured. Grant Hill went to the point. Mike Krzyzewski put him back there. That's the first time we really got a chance to see how versatile he was as a player. And I think that Mike is doing a lot of those things with Battier now.
1-and-1 for Williams.
Short. Boy, Nelson has been the guy.
Up ahead, Haslam. Well, I tell you, that's a couple of times now we've seen the Florida players sliding on the floor.
I love the way Nelson is going to develop as this point guard. We talked about him being the leading scorer in the history of West Virginia high school basketball. You know, he beat your old buddy Rod Hundley records, but he's going to be some point guard. Boy, very impressive performance by Iowa State.
Major Parker, he's got Christensen on him.
He could take him with the dribble. Nelson trying to get the high screen from Wright.
And Wright converts.
Well, what Florida is doing is setting up in the low post right in the lane.
Brent Wright with a short-range basket gives Florida the 4-point lead.
They are really giving Duke problems when they set up in the blue paint. Nice job by Parker to stay on the floor.
Double team on Battier.
Oh, foul call.
And Dupay takes it off the floor, and he's running. And a reach by Williams.
Good job by Dupay putting that ball so low to the floor on the crossover. Williams had to reach for it.
His first. Coming up, Pennzoil at the half. Greg and Clark will get you caught up on the action from down in Austin. More updates coming from the South Regional. That's coming up on Pennzoil at the half.
Jim, big gamble by Duke here. Boozer comes back into the ball game. Remember, he's got those 2 fouls, and let's see if Florida goes down to Haslam. Florida doing a great job posting up their men right in the lane, and they're just overpowering Duke people.
Dupay knocks down the big front end of a 1-and-1. And Edward Dupay III, the all-time high school scorer in the state of Florida, will get one more. He broke Chris Corchiani's state record, points by a high schooler. 2 for Dupay.
Here comes Weeks in, Dupay out, and that revolving door of Billy Donovan's really doing a great job with bench production.
Williams gets away from Weeks, and he's off to the races. Boozer, no, they're going to call a charge.
And there is the case. Remember the little reach-in foul by Williams down here, the cheap one? Now he picks up the big one. Now he's in foul trouble. And Duke has nowhere to go with Williams out of the game. He left the ground, went up in the air. When you've got a break with a dribble like that, you have got to stop at the foul line. You get up in the air, you have no control. The defender has got all the advantages.
That's 2 fouls on Williams in a matter of seconds. So Haslam will shoot the 1-and-1. Tulsa just tearing up Miami early by 15. One more for Haslam. You know, Florida basketball began back in 1915, but the Gators never qualified for the NCAA tournament until 72 years later, 1987, and their first ever NCAA tournament game was right here in the Carrier Dome. 87, they defeated North Carolina State with Vinny Del Negro and beat the Big Ten champion Purdue Boilermakers here to go to the Sweet 16. And their first trip to the NCAA.
And then got beat by the team that normally plays here, Syracuse.
Florida with its biggest lead. Lead of 8.
Reach-in foul by Wright, who has really done a fine job defensively. 3 steals already in this ball game.
1 week from Tuesday, CBS presents an extraordinary television event, Falcone. Jason Gedrick stars as Falcone. Don't miss this compelling new drama 1 week from Tuesday, April 4th on CBS.
You know, in 87, Jim, to take that story a little further, you remember Syracuse beat North Carolina to get to the Final Four, and then they beat a team named Providence, starring Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan, who came out of the Southeast Regional as the most outstanding player in that regional to get his team to the Final Four. Beat Georgetown.
That Florida group coached by Norm Sloan actually went to 3 straight NCAA tournaments, 87, 88, and 89. And that was really a very productive period in Norm Sloan's second tenure as a coach at the University of Florida.
Right shot, and bounces out. James is the only man underneath.
Williams is going to have to get a better understanding of his role in this game.
Boozer pinned between 2 defenders and touched by Wright.
Shot clock down to 19 seconds. Wright has been everywhere, and of course, as I said again, this bench keeps all of those guys out on the floor very fresh. Duke doing a pretty good job, though, controlling tempo in this game. They just are making bad decisions. Florida playing zone for the first time. Look for James in the corner.
How about Williams from there, too? And off the back, Miller takes it.
Weeks a great shooter.
He nails it.
Did not flare out to the three-point line, but Weeks, very explosive score. Farrell does a nice job faking long and coming back.
Williams bounces it in. Boozer and a reach-in called on Weeks.
But that's a good foul again. Boozer has not been able to go ahead and deliver to go on the line to get the traditional three-point play with the basket and a foul. Florida in control of this basketball game so far. Jim, you haven't seen Duke make a move to look like they're the superior team.
Duke last led at 13-12. Double bonus, Boozer with 2. The Florida team that has a 26-7 record, but all 7 losses were to teams that at one point during the season were ranked. And I've said it a couple of times in this tournament last week at Winston-Salem. A team that probably, you know, in the seeding game deserved maybe a little better than a 5, but they had to sort out the whole SEC.
Yeah, four-way tie for first place, and it was hard to separate one team from the other, particularly when you saw their postseason conference tournament.
It was a team, though, Florida, that in the rankings was never lower than 13th in the nation the entire season, including the final poll. Duke ranked number 1 in the final poll. That was off the heel of Miller, so it is, in fact, a backcourt violation. It was not touched by James.
Good job by James defensively on Miller, who normally can go by another forward. See if Florida stays in the zone. They're in the 2-3 zone.
All season, Duke's biggest halftime deficit, 5.
That's not James's spot. Christensen overruns the ball. Florida's got numbers again.
Devils came back to win that game at the United Center in Chicago in December, withstanding a Frank Williams shot at the buzzer that was just off the mark. Final minute, Gators by 7.
Well, Jim, Duke won 4 overtime games this year, so you know they had a lot of tight ones. Dupay loves that shot.
3, dips in and out.
He loves that shot. He's got great range in his shot. Florida goes back, sets up the 2-3 zone. So far, it's been effective.
4-second differential, 6 straight misses from the floor by the Devils.
Mike Krzyzewski would like to go ahead and hold it as long as he can for that last shot. He's got some pretty good perimeter shooters here. Down to 10. They better get moving this ball a little tighter. They're not going to get the shot they want.
5 on the shot clock. Carrawell looking for a seam.
Took too much time.
Dunleavy will have to take it. Not in time.
Not good execution at all by Duke University there. They're up against the zone. They held the ball. Donovan's going to call a timeout to set up the last second shot.
Timeout Gators, up 7. Final seconds, first half. She presented her father with his first grandchild last November.
Look at trying to go long. Nice
side. Haslam. Shot was in time, but it's off the back of the rim.
What we have to do is we have to finish. We've had opportunities at the basket, I believe around 10 times in the first half, and we didn't finish. We had our looks. Florida's playing some good defense when they set their press up. We have to be aggressive and continue to attack it, but we're getting our looks. We just have to finish when we get them.
All right, Johnny, thanks. Jim?
All right, Billy, what do you believe Duke must do in this half?
Well, the first thing they have to do is start protecting the paint better defensively, and I think Williams, with the ball in his hands right now, has got to have much better judgment as to how he gets them in their half-court sets. So far, I think that the tempo of the game is going in Duke's favor as to how they're going ahead and slowing this game down somewhat, but they cannot finish, as Johnny Dawkins just said.
Oh, look at that.
Was that Battier?
James.
Look at Mike Krzyzewski over there. Up off of that bench. Battier looks at him, and you can tell, much like was the case for Michigan State last night, where Mateen Cleaves evidently worked over his teammates, Mike Krzyzewski really prodding this team on now.
Let's go. Come on, he said.
This is really good offensive board work by Duke. I said they couldn't finish, but there's one that goes up by Nate James.
But Boozer gives him another chance. Battier, 3-point shot, yes! 5 right out of the locker room for the Devils.
That is some great offensive board work, and Billy Donovan says, no, I've seen enough of this. Let me get my guys refocused. Excellent timeout call on his part. Mike Krzyzewski really hot. There's Boozer, the chest bump to Battier. I guarantee you there was some talk in that locker room. Duke did not look good to me in practice yesterday in regard to execution. They started off this first game playing very timid. There's Florida going down to that low post paint job.
Rejected by Battier. And Duke down 7 at the half. can tie it with a 2, take the lead with a 3 the first minute of the second half.
Battier wants the ball down in low. Here comes the double team. Good move.
They move right past Miller to tie it.
You know what he did there, Jim? Very smart play by Battier. Saw the double team coming from up high, so he spun on the baseline side where there was no help. Billy Donovan coming in with a whole new 5. He doesn't like what this starting unit has shown him in the first couple of minutes.
He's going to pull them all right out.
Wright's got a little man on him inside. They're not delivering him the ball.
Hamilton takes the 3 and buries it right over Carrawell.
Huge shot by a young man who moved into the starting lineup for the SEC tournament. That was a huge shot for Florida.
Got his just 5th start tonight. And Battier traveled.
Great job by Wright. Battier felt him coming from behind. And here is, again, the confidence that Billy Donovan has in the rotation of this bench. Picked it up from Rick Pitino. You can remember those great Kentucky teams where Pitino would go to that bench and they would all produce for him.
Second 5 here. Parker, Nelson with the ball. Harvey, Bonner, and Weeks.
Harvey with Boozer down in low. He is very active. Illegal screen by Harvey, gets by.
Nelson, just as he did at the start of the game, comes right into the action and hits a jumper.
How about this?
We have had 2 bizarre swings to start this second half. Duke was down 7 at halftime, came right out, scored 7 in the first minute here of the second stanza, but Florida on a 5-point run and just forced another turnover. Weeks.
As a push inside, Boozer got away with a foul there. Billy Donovan can't believe it.
Williams finds a seam and a reach-in call on Nelson.
That was a big break for Duke there because there was a push by Boozer that would have been his 3rd. Harvey was pushed right underneath the basket. Instead, Duke comes down and gets the touch foul.
First on Nelson.
Florida sets up the zone out of bounds.
Carrawell has to go out high with it.
Smart play by Williams. Let the ball hit instead of trying to make the catch right at the half-court area where it might have gotten away from him.
Inside over the back, Harvey.
Good feed by Carrawell, sensing that Boozer had good position. That's 3 on Harvey. And again, that doesn't hurt Florida as much as 3 on Boozer would Duke, but still he's a guy that Billy Donovan wants to have available down the stretch. Haslam back.
There it is.
James close by his defender, tipped up and in.
Battier, 2 men down for Duke. Florida, Nelson going to try to take advantage.
Duke recovers quickly.
Illegal screens out front by Florida. They're getting by with it. Boy, Haslam wanted that ball on Boozer. They didn't deliver.
He was begging for it. To the corner. Parker bypasses the shot. Bodies everywhere. And Boozer will be whistled for that one. For Boozer, his 3rd.
And that's a foul that Duke will have to remember. Mike Krzyzewski will have to get him out of there, but there's no movement yet. And now he makes the move. Dunleavy coming in for it.
Dunleavy saw action in the first half, as did Matt Christensen, but Nick Horvath, who has been a contributor all season, freshman from Minnesota for the Devils, did not play.
And Jim, here is where Dunleavy was so effective for Duke this year. He could come in for multiple positions, but it's not the same player we saw during the regular season where he came in with a freshness. He has not been able to deliver so far in the NCAA tournament. These are going to be important minutes for him.
Miller comes back. He's had an off game so far. Miller 1 of 7 from the field.
And on made free throws, Florida gets back into their patented press situation.
Dunleavy open from the corner.
Nothing going for Dunleavy. These are critical minutes. He has got to be productive off the bench for Duke. They're getting killed in regard to bench points. In that first half, the Florida bench was 8 for 11, 3 for 5 in three-point shots, scored 19 of the 40 points. Duke got 0 for 2 from the floor, only 2 of their 33 points off the bench.
Nelson drives. Oh, look at Haslam right over Battier.
You know, that was a late whistle, wasn't it?
I mean, really, for that much contact.
You'll see this. Haslam's going to run from 15 feet, goes over the top, and the whistle wasn't blown immediately. I don't know what they were waiting on.
You think he might call that an over-the-back violation?
I would think so. That's like textbook. There's a hold by Nelson on Williams. This game is getting a little bit rougher right here, which I think favors Florida because they've got a lot of bodies.
Williams shot, pull off, doesn't get the roll.
The reason it was a tough shot, he was looking to pass first as he left the floor.
He's 1 of 9 from the field with a total here tonight of 4 turnovers.
Duke cannot play their best if Williams is not having at least a good game.
Haslam feeds it. Miller's second hoop of the night.
Good cut by Miller. Florida getting their second wind here now after that quick onslaught by Duke.
Nelson on the floor, strips it away. And Williams fights back for it. Tie-up situation, look out.
This is getting rough. You can
Mike
sense it coming.
Krzyzewski tells his team, stay on the bench area.
Johnny Dawkins, 1986. He's coming down that floor ready to make a play on the break.
Well, they call the tie-up situation.
And a nice piece of officiating here not to call anything other than a tie-up situation.
The arrow belongs to Florida.
But again, on this replay, Dunleavy on a weak pass. You're throwing the ball cross-court under the other team's basket. Very dangerous. Good hustle here by Williams. Wow, wait a minute.
Wait, Weeks came after him.
We did not see that. That should have been he should have been sitting on that bench for the rest of the game after this play. Never saw it from our angle, but watch what Weeks does right here. Without question, he should be gone.
You can't do that.
No, he should have been out of this ball game.
They have called a non-contact technical foul now on Weeks.
Good call.
And that's
and a personal. Jim, from our angle here with all those bodies, we couldn't see the action, nor did we see the official making the move, but I'm glad that they did because without question, this is a technical right here. Watch this action by Weeks. Man alive. That was almost, you could consider that flagrant if you ask me. Matter of fact, he can be thrown out of the game for saying that's a punch.
Tell you what, he snapped Williams' head back so violently it really could have injured the Duke freshman. The action has intensified here in the second half. 16:08 to go. Blue Devils are down 6. They were down 7 at halftime. Pulled even with Florida in only 1 minute of play in this second half before the Gators regained control. We've just had a technical foul called on Kenyon Weeks of Florida.
And now, because Johnny Dawkins did have the proper angle on that we did not have, you can see why Dawkins took off down the floor. Battier, the 3rd best free throw shooter in the ACC this year.
Johnny Dawkins
not getting it done here.
Johnny Dawkins, the star on the '86 team, the first team that Mike Krzyzewski took to a championship game.
Losing to Louisville in that basketball game, Mike said that if he had had more experience, he could have drilled that team to a championship. They won 37 games, which is an all-time NCAA record. Last year's team had a chance to beat it. Carrawell comes back. Now we're going to see the gut check, Jim. Look at Nelson. Where's he going?
And that's going to be on Williams.
That's his 3rd. Boy, Nelson putting that ball on the floor, no place to go, but he doesn't have to worry about foul trouble.
One thing about that technical, it would have been Florida's ball on the arrow, and Duke scores 3 points at the other end, so could have been like a 5-point swing on the Weeks play. Oh yeah, he could take you inside.
That's, I guarantee you.
Miller,
good block.
Help. Battier came over, and they'll give him another block.
Jim, Duke, as we mentioned, here we see that block by Battier again. He's so effective coming from the weak side, getting his hands on the ball. Teddy DePay from downtown.
Carrawell snags the rebound. I don't think Battier got a piece of that block. Maybe.
Might have hit the side of the backboard. Boy, DePay from that kind of range, and he leans back. That's good move by Carrawell.
Carrawell got position. Miller was late getting there, and Miller will be whistled for that one, his 2nd.
Jim, 4 times Duke has ended the regular season under Krzyzewski as the #1 team in the country. It's kind of interesting. Not since 1980-81, when DePaul ended in back-to-back seasons the #1 ranked team, has anybody done it until Duke did it this year. And in all 3 of the previous years that Duke ended #1, they worked their way to the Final Four. But they are in some trouble here tonight.
In fact, they, in all 3 of those occasions, made it all the way to the championship game when they ended the regular season ranked #1.
Now here's a lineup that's worked pretty effectively for Florida. Anytime they go with 3 bigs, they have given Duke a lot of trouble. Now, particularly with Boozer out of the game. Nice matchup situation by Billy Donovan here. And Duke has nothing they can counter with.
Carrawell brings the Devils within 1. He has 14.
Now watch how they surround this with Wright and Haslam going inside against Duke. Boy, getting a lot of screens there. There they go, inside.
Haslam hooked over Battier.
Great coaching move by Billy Donovan. He's got a mismatch inside.
And a reach in. They reached in from behind. Wright stole it away, knocked it loose from Dunleavy.
Dunleavy just cannot give him anything.
Haslam gets Carrawell to commit. Wright will drive in. Banks it too strong. Back to him.
Cheap foul on the inside. Jimmy, Dunleavy just doesn't have any movement whatsoever. It just doesn't look like there's any strength at all there on either end of the floor. And he has been an outstanding performer for them as a 6th man, but right now he's hurt.
Carrawell called for his second. Wright will shoot 2.
And you see what Mike Krzyzewski's doing right now? He knows at this point in the game, even though Boozer's got 3 fouls, that the matchup problem that he has, that Donovan created for him, is going to require him to put Boozer back in the game with 15 minutes to go, and he's got 3 fouls on him. Duke is a man-to-man team, so they can't hide Boozer in the zone. It's a tough situation for a team that's not very deep. In the lane goes Battier. Wright would have had another shot.
Yeah, he makes them both, gives him 6. He has more points tonight than he had in the 2 games in the East region. And Winston-Salem, Williams, hurry up mode, and he finds Boozer.
Now that's his roommate. They have good feel for each other on the break. Nelson comes right back at him, though.
Almost traveled, no whistle. Double team. Wright thought about it.
Battier'd be better off laying off a Wright a little bit, let him have the shot.
Dupay comes in with the big guys, and the ball stripped away from Boozer. Wright dips down and out.
Boozer has to be careful in there.
Carrawell, pull up. Yes!
And we have a man, Dupay, hurt under the basket, so it was 5 against 4 there. We know that Teddy has had a problem with his shoulder, and he was in among the trees on that last play, was never able to come down court, Jim. He will have to come out now. Let's see where Billy Donovan goes. Looks like got hit in the head here, huh? Tried to drive in there with the big guys. He's a feisty little player, but giving up a lot of size. We'll see him coming right here. Battier gets a piece, and there he got hit right in the head. He lays down here and stayed there as the teams went in the other direction.
Dazed, but looks as though he'll be capable of coming back. 14 minutes to go. 1-point game. Miller backing in, and a whistle on his back. A Duke defender.
That's going to be Carrawell. Miller is such a versatile offensive player, and Carrawell normally great defensively. A guy posts up on him, but Miller's got a couple inches on him and took him to school there.
His 3rd, Sunday 60 minutes. And Leslie Stahl with Tom Joyner. You'll get to meet one of America's favorite disc jockeys Sunday on 60 Minutes.
Jim, I think that Mike Krzyzewski, with this much time left, has got to go to Horvath. He's got to go to Christensen. He has got to find somebody that can give him a couple of minutes, because his team is getting into some serious foul trouble now. And all year long, he's been able to get by with a 6-man club, but not going to happen today.
Oh, Nelson forces another steal. He reached from behind. Miller comes driving through.
Battier with a foul.
And for Battier, that'll be his 2nd.
Duke very careless with the ball when they put the ball on the floor and try to dribble by.
Hey, that's on Boozer, Billy, not Battier. That's his fourth.
I said that Mike Krzyzewski's going to have to try Horvath or Christensen here. He can't let him foul out with this much time.
Horvath kind of peeking down in the direction of the coaches.
And I'm going to give Billy Donovan tremendous credit here. When he went and put that big lineup in the game, he forced Mike to have to come back with Boozer earlier than he wanted to.
He's going to come in with Matt Christensen, not Horvath, on the next whistle. Boozer on the floor with 4.
And he's not going to take a chance. He picks up another one on a possession.
So Mike calls a timeout. Krzyzewski with the timeout. Florida with the 3-point lead, under 14 minutes to go.
And now here is the key for Duke. Can they steal some minutes from Christensen? They haven't used Horvath at all. Florida goes in a situation where they don't have to worry about Christensen, so Haslam's playing a one-man zone down inside.
This could tie it. Way
Williams
too long.
isn't even close.
1 for 10 from the field. Weeks with a 3. Slides off the rim. Long board to Williams.
And here again, you see Duke would like to slow this down a little bit.
Go on.
Tulsa up 8 in the second half on Miami in the Battle of Hurricanes.
Good double, but again, Battier hit
Good line with a chance to tie it.
You would think that Florida would have learned from the last occasion where Battier saw the double team coming from high, wheeled with a drop step down low on the baseline. Watch this, he sees it coming from the other direction. Terrific job by Battier. Using the glass, protecting the ball. Watch this drop step, he sees it coming. So instead of going back into the middle, wheels baseline side for the score.
Miller with his 3rd. And Duke, 7 down at the half, has tied it for the 2nd time in this half.
For some reason, though, Jim, they have not been able to put it over the top when they get tight.
The Duke fans here stand down in salute of that comeback.
And one of the reasons is the man number 10, Nelson. Every time Duke gets tight, he seems to be the guy to open things up. Christensen.
And Wright gets Battier to commit. And hold on a minute. Traveling called against the Gators.
And Duke with 2 men on the floor. I'm surprised Battier is rushing out at Wright, particularly when he knows he needs to help inside. He hasn't forced Wright to show that he can make some of these shots. Put his team, and James gets over there a little late, but gets the call.
Major Parker in for Florida. They go long. Touchdown pass to Carrawell, unable to get to the end zone.
Williams knows he's got to play. He's having one of a rough night.
Battier, tough shot, and rattles out, but Nate James puts Duke in front.
The veteran. Now let's see if Nelson can counter.
First lead for Duke since 13-12.
There goes Nelson. Again, see, they're charging at right.
Nelson for the lead back. No. Battier snares the rebound.
Smart play by Williams. What you want to do now is to make Florida play your game. This is what Illinois never was able to do against the Gators.
Battier, quick jumper. And Weeks pulls it away.
Carrawell looks a little tired here.
Parker has some room. Nelson steps in. He'll go back out. Right, 3-pointer. Long board, Nelson. Ties it at 56.
He has been the man on every occasion tonight. Remember when he came in off the bench? Lit everything up.
And they missed 6 in a row before that made basket.
Williams seems tired out here.
Nelson almost stripped him again. Battier tried to slam home the rebound. And off right. Oh, they missed the short shot by Williams and the slam follow-up.
Battier may have been too emphatic on that tap.
We're back here in Syracuse. Again, Duke down 7 at halftime. Took a 2-point lead in this half, but now all squared 56. And it'll be Florida ball.
There was a tough pass by Carrawell trying to throw it cross-court bounce. Tough one to handle. I'm talking about Williams. So far in the last 2 games, He is 1 for 11 today with 5 turnovers. Against Kansas, 2 for 15 with 8 turnovers. That's 3 for 26.
Oh, look at this turnover. Hamilton threw it right to him, and Carrawell comes up short. Williams with the putback. There he is, Billy.
That might get him off.
Hamilton.
Tough shot.
Got it.
They just come off with guys come off that bench, been sitting there, and they come in and make big plays. Nice crossover dribble by Battier.
Nate James drives baseline, and they're calling it on James. Charge.
That was Harvey that got over. He's got 3 fouls on him. Good play by James. I thought they got there a little late. So did Mike Krzyzewski. He can't believe it. Here's James. Harvey's there. He is waiting on him. Proper call.
Bench scoring here in this game, 24-2, Florida. Bonner tries to get it into Harvey. Parker.
Double Ewok.
Yep. Duke ball.
Came up, went down, still had the ball. I tell you, now you need to see Williams bent over. He is tired. You're talking about a kid that's had to play some 45-minute games.
Oh, no traveling call there. Breaks free, sets up Christensen, who lays it in for the lead.
See the difference there, Jim? He stopped at the foul line, came to the jump stop, and made the delivery.
Parker bumped by James. And it'll be a one and no, let's see here.
Here you see the jump stop, then the delivery. So there's no charge on the play. Christensen does a good job making the basket. That's only the 2nd basket of the game for Duke's bench.
In fact, actually the first basket, their other 2 points were 3 throws by Dunleavy. So Parker will have a 1-and-1 here, 2 to tie. You know, Christensen has been a long time since he saw action in a game like this. 1996 first round loss for the Devils to Earl Boykins in Eastern Michigan. Then went on a 2-year morning mission to Germany, set out another year. So he's just a sophomore, but he has experience in this NCAA tournament all the way back to '96.
Well, a good overplay by Duke, by Florida. Duke could not get the ball in bounds. Smart play. Possession is so important for Duke.
Duke has 2 timeouts left. 10 minutes to go. Game tied at 60.
Well, Jim, here you look at Florida right now with 10 minutes to go. They have 5 guys on the floor. Only Hamilton was a starter. So they're extremely fresh. And as I said again, cannot get into foul trouble.
But Duke has come back bravely from 7 down. Christensen for a 2nd basket. No. James inside.
Beautiful rebounding against Harvey, who's a tremendous rebounder.
Nate James has been solid in every tournament game this year.
Harvey with Christensen down in low. Parker really has become an offensive threat here. There's that rebounding by Carrawell. Carrawell and James right now playing bigger than their size.
Battier with a screen. Williams navigating.
Good recovery by Parker. James had the shot he wanted.
Williams pass Bonner, blocked by Harvey, and off Christensen. The work that Nate James does inside for Duke goes unnoticed so often.
There was Harvey coming over on Christensen, but look at James crash. Great hands. Terrific job on the offensive boards.
8 rebounds for James tonight. That ties his season high.
Okay, here you go, Jim. Boozer in, 9 minutes to go. He's got 4 fouls. Mike Krzyzewski stole all the time he could. Good backdoor cut.
And Bonner ties it at 62. Boozer was on the bench for not quite 5 minutes on the game clock. A little under 5 minutes he sat. Now with under 9 minutes to play, they must bring back the starting center.
Williams is getting caught with Bonner a lot, and he can't go by him. That should be a matchup in his favor. And now they get the switch back, so Nelson gets on Williams. I bet you Williams tired of seeing fresh bodies out there.
There he goes, Billy. And he gets the hoop to go. Harvey came over to help out. but too late.
Good recognition by Williams that time because he can beat Bonner off the dribble. That was a bad matchup for Florida. Those are illegal
Nelson.
screens.
Yeah, Bonner not whistled for it, though.
Another illegal screen by Harvey.
Weeks in the lane, gives it up. Harvey, another tie at 64.
See, Williams a little tired right now. Can't blow by people to dribble. Look, he's almost walking up the court.
Carrawell got a screen from Boozer. Comes up short. Boozer follows it up.
Nice play by Boozer to set the screen in Florida.
And Carrawell reaches up and takes it away. Williams.
Nice.
The pass was a little low for Williams, but he handled it and got the hoop.
Williams looking at Mike Krzyzewski like, Coach, I gotta have a blow here. They only have 2 timeouts. Mike trying to save him. Really a battle of wits by these 2 coaches now.
Duke with a 4-point lead.
Backdoor cut again.
Bonner.
Battier got caught with a back screen. Doesn't happen to him often. Bonner with 2 very good plays against one of the nation's top defenders.
Williams exhausted and a timeout Duke.
Oh, I guarantee you Williams loved to hear that.
Blue Devils getting some second chances. 24 points, second chance points in fact in all. Blue Devil ball up 2, 1 timeout remaining.
Here we're going to see the back screen right there. Battier doesn't get to it. Bonner 2 times now in the last 3 or 4 possessions have been able to get a back screen or a backdoor cut to beat Battier. Maybe a little mental fatigue as well as physical there, Jim, because Battier usually is able to see the triangle on that ball all the time.
Nelson saw it coming, didn't quite get it. Williams has hit 3 straight from the field.
Sensational play over Haslam, who I think was surprised that he took it.
Nelson right down to the other end, and Battier knocks it away.
Duke has the numbers, but do they have the stamina?
Williams outside, and that's a 2. They rule it a 2.
What a comeback by that young man.
He
Tremendous.
Was 1 for 11 from the field, and now he's hit his last 4, including a pull-up jumper for a 6-shot lead. Duke's largest of the night.
Jim, I said it'd be a gut check, and Williams showing why he is such an outstanding young player. Did not get named as freshman of the year in the ACC. That went to Joseph Forte, but he is playing well now. Here we see that Williams did have his feet on the line, so no question it was a 2. But give this young man some credit, Jim. I was saying in the last 2 games he was 3 for 26. He's now made 4 shots in a row. Does Duke come out in the zone? Do they come out in the zone? They sure do.
Does that surprise you?
Yes, it does. They're trying a nice move by Mike Krzyzewski, trying to save a little energy.
That gets Williams a little bit of a chance, right?
Yes. It keeps Boozer potentially out of foul trouble. Nelson didn't recognize the defense, so they're not really ready for it.
7 on the shot clock. Miller. Nelson, long range 3, and he cuts the lead in half.
He has been the man tonight for Florida.
15 for the freshman. Tough pass, and Dunleavy's elbows crashed to the floor as his arm was tangled with Nelson's. It'll be a 1-and-1 for Dunleavy.
And you can see Dunleavy at 6'8" or 9" goes over the top of Nelson. Nice catch.
1-1, man.
No question about the foul.
His father, an All-America at South Carolina, Mike Dunleavy Jr. misses on the front end of a 1-and-1.
Pay back in. Remember, he had to sit down with a hit on the head. Steal.
Battier was the man who made the play. Behind the back, Dunleavy. Williams with a little dipsy-do, and Duke goes up 5.
Freshman to freshman.
Haslam gets it back quickly, though, that basket.
Well, remember, now Boozer cannot afford to play aggressively down in the paint. Mike Krzyzewski showed the zone once. They go over the top.
Dunleavy. Outside, he traveled.
He traveled, put the ball in one hand. He was going to throw the lob. Having a nightmare evening. And here we'll see Williams behind the back, throws Dupay. Dunleavy goes in, lays it up on the glass.
Duke by 3. Florida ball, and Coach Billy Donovan talks it over. He's never won in this building, 0 for 2 as a player, but Billy, as you pointed out, actually made 2 other trips here for Providence.
Well, this just goes to show you how a Rick Pitino set the life in place for Billy Donovan. He was on a team that played 4 times here, but he didn't even get in the games at Providence as a freshman and sophomore. But as a junior and senior, he became one of their really outstanding players of all time.
Florida with a 3 to tie. Duke has come back from 7 down at halftime to take as much as a 6-point lead. Dupay looking around, and he's got a chance to tie it at the line.
And more importantly, that's the 5th foul on Boozer. He's out of there. Now Mike Krzyzewski's got to go into that bench, and he was trying to keep him on the floor. Another backdoor cut by Florida. They're right now. They don't realize. Yes, they realize it now. And that's Boozer's out of there with 5 minutes to go.
11 points and 9 rebounds for Boozer.
I really think, Jim, that Duke put Boozer in a bad situation there, and I don't mean the coaching staff. I'm talking about his teammates. These backdoor cuts that have been made are because they've been playing too aggressively out on top and not helping him to protect down on in the paint. Dunleavy comes into the game. How important it is for him and Duke for him to do something for this team. Florida, great comeback here.
They've come back from 6 down. We have essentially an overtime situation. 5 minutes to go, tied at 74.
Duke has been in 5 overtimes this year. Of course, Florida could have won the SEC outright if it wasn't for the 2 overtimes they had to play against Tennessee. Good pump fake.
Battier drives and gives Duke the lead back. Florida had to win its first round game in overtime, coming back from 7 down with 4 minutes to go in regulation to knock out Butler, which put on quite a performance. Miller wants to challenge Dunleavy. And that kicks out for Wright.
Dunleavy with a big rebound. He looks up the sky and just has no expression or color in his face at all. You really feel sorry for the young man because he's going to be an outstanding player, but doesn't look like he has a lot of energy. Florida in his zone.
3 weeks ago, Dunleavy was out with mononucleosis for 4 games. Inside, Battier, good hands, and a foul on Florida. That almost got away from the Devils. Tough pass, but the solid hands kept it with the Devils.
Battier on an excellent pump fake drive to the baseline, because you've got to protect him with that 3. He's such an outstanding 3-point shooter, but he puts the pump fake on, does a nice job not to charge. Miller can't stop him.
That was the 4th on Miller. So 2 shots for Battier.
Miller has not had the big game as a key player for Florida, but they really have picked up with outstanding play from Nelson and the entire bench.
Four minutes to go, 4-point lead. Battier with 20 tonight, 15 coming in the second half.
Watch these high screens here for Nelson.
Nelson needs help. Miller to the rescue. Dupay with the left hand, it spins out.
Haslam so strong.
Big rebound, way too strong. Wright put the follow, thrown out of there by Battier.
And how about the long arms of Dunleavy to be able to pull that one back in? Battier time and time again with sensational plays. There is not a better all-around player in the country than Shane Battier. And Florida stays in the zone. Williams going to try a long 3.
Miller pulls down the rebound. The numbers. Wright broke with Dupay, who stutter steps. Nelson goes inside. Dupay, 3, down the 1.
Great play by Miller on the kick out. Gave it to a teammate. Went better shot, and Duke throws it away.
And it is Florida ball. It's Dunleavy, James, Carrawell, Battier, and Williams on the floor. 4 starters plus Dunleavy.
And you've got that combination of Haslam and Wright, which have been so tough.
Dupay, Miller, Haslam, Wright, and Nelson. A basket for the lead. The freshman comes up short. Carrawell with the rebound.
Well, Florida got a pretty good look at that basket by a guy that's been carrying them tonight in all the big situations. Florida stays in the 2-3 zone. Figuring maybe there's some tired legs from Duke out there. They're not going to get the elevation on the jump shot. And with Boozer out of there, Duke has no inside game. Battier trying to take his place.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Williams, 3.
There's the case of the tired legs, and he probably shouldn't have saved that.
Because now he's out of the mix.
Exactly.
5 on 4 inside, and Florida takes the lead.
Williams would have been a lot better keeping that ball to himself. Tired legs, Jim, make for bad jump shots.
2 minutes to go. The #1 seed in the East is down 1. Dunleavy for the lead back, and it's going against the freshman. Charge.
This is a brilliant move by Billy Donovan. He knows that Duke is tired. He goes to the 2-3 zone, knowing they have no inside game with Boozer gone. There's Dunleavy making a play with nobody under the basket. Duke stays in there man-to-man. What a chess match we've had between these two outstanding coaches tonight.
1:40 remaining. Gators looking to add to the lead. Dupay, the 3 rattles out. Almost a 4-point opportunity. Williams will send them to the line, though, for 3 free throws.
No need for that foul. Dupay had the look. You've got to let him take it. And now Billy Donovan going to stay in that zone. Duke is going to have to get some offensive rebounds, but where do they come from other than smaller men like James and Carrawell?
That's the 4th on Williams. 3 at the line for Dupay. Whoa. The #1 ranked team in the country in the final poll going into the tournament is down 1. Florida in its school history has 7 times faced a #1 ranked team, has never come within 10 points of that #1 team. 0-7.
And Duke riding on 26 straight Eastern regional wins.
Duke came back against Kansas, down 1. A little less than a minute to go. Now they're down 2. Dupay only able to make 1 of 3.
But they stay in the 2-3 zone. See if Duke puts a man on the foul line to try to get some inside game going.
Battier to James for the lead back.
See, there's no rebounding inside with Boozer no longer there. They've got a one-and-done situation. The zone, again, a very good move by Florida.
1:12 to go. Florida in no hurry with the 2-point lead.
3 good ball handlers, easy pass.
Haslam underneath, and he's unable to sneak it in from underneath the cylinder, but he'll head to the line for a pair.
Well, here you go back, Jim. Mike Krzyzewski not able to steal enough minutes to keep Boozer on the floor with Christensen or Horvath, who never got into the game at all for Duke. So the bench and the foul problems created by not having one has really hurt Duke.
2 for Haslam. Boozer has fouled out. Williams has 4. 3 fouls at this point on James. 3 on Carrawell. Parker comes back, and Florida could have really had a little space here, a little more comfort, but made now only 1 of the last 4 with the Haslam miss and Dupay's 1 of 3.
Parker coming back in to give him a little more size out on the perimeter in that zone. Still a 1-possession game here, and Florida picks up full court. See, they've got now, without Dupay out in the front, it'll be tough to shoot over it on the perimeter.
Under 1 minute to go, needing a 3 at a time. Battier can do it. And Miller, the man underneath for the Gators.
No rebounding. Carrawell down, slow getting up. He looks up at the clock in desperation here.
Duke's had chances this last 2 trips, and a reach-around foul, his 4th. Carrawell. Miller will shoot 2 with double bonus. With 37 seconds to go, the #1 seed in the East, the #1 ranked team in the nation. The Duke Blue Devils are down 3, and the Gators are at the line shooting 2. They have come back from 6 down in this half after relinquishing a 7-point halftime lead. A 12-4 run for Florida. Mike Miller will shoot one more. Two-possession game now, Billy.
Now you've got the two-possession game. Duke will have to put it on the floor. Jason Williams probably penetrating to the basket as quickly as he can. But a made free throw here allows Florida to set up their press.
Got them both.
They drop back into the 2-3 zone. Again, Williams should try to penetrate right inside here. With the dribble, he doesn't have time to do anything else.
It's Battier, goes back out with it. This could cut it to 2. Williams, no, and 3 straight long-range shots, and misses and rebounds by Florida. 25.5 seconds to go, and 30,000 plus here in Syracuse. Sense that the third #1 seed of this tournament is about to be ousted.
Only Michigan State knows for sure that they are going to advance for another day.
Arizona and Stanford eliminated in the second round. And Duke here in the round of Sweet 16, down 5, and it could be even more here in a moment. 2 for Miller. 6-point lead.
Miller did not have the big game offensively, but he's coming through now, particularly in that 2-3 zone that Billy Donovan so wisely put in play here and getting some good defensive rebounds.
Timeout, Florida with a 7-point lead.
Now Florida drops all the way back. They're not going to let any roll-in ball. Jason Williams has got to go directly to the basket here.
Carrawell, 3-point shot. Underneath. And Haslam with the strong rebound. And a reach-in foul will send right to the line as Williams will foul out with that one.
No place for Duke to go off that bench tonight. 2 young teams whose programs will be major factors in college basketball for years to come. But tonight, the younger team with the deeper bench
and we're
taking control.
We're about to see the end of the career for Chris Carrawell, one of Mike Krzyzewski's favorite players. Senior ACC Player of the Year from St. Louis, Missouri. Williams out. There he is. He had taken 2 steps forward his first 3 years and virtually everything he did for Duke. Second round loss his freshman year to Providence. 2 rounds later, his sophomore year, Kentucky beat him in the Elite 8. 2 more steps forward last year, all the way to the final, a loss to UConn.
Well, think about it, Jim. Only Grant Hill has scored 1,000 points, had 500 rebounds, 100 blocks, and 275 assists. So a young man who did not come in with all that fanfare to play his last game for Duke. Chris Carrawell.
Carrawell and Florida ball with 8 seconds to go. His head down, realizing gravity of the moment is about to end for him at Duke, and the #1 seed in the East is going out.
Mike will take him out of the game now to what should be a standing ovation.
And he's encouraging everyone there to recognize this young man's achievements in 4 years.
Great relationship there, coach and player.
And that's what it is about right there, that scene in college basketball.
Mike goes down to congratulate Billy Donovan.
And the Florida Gators are eliminators of the #1 seed in the East.